Somebody asked, I don't know, you've spoken on this before, but I'll ask you, Reggie. Do you know who leaked the Makaveli albums, and why didn't Death Row have tighter control over who had access to the masters?
John leaked it.
Shit.
John, I sent you a segment about 2 weeks ago. We can try to key up and let a white man tell them. So what John about to play for y'all is this audio from the guy that I always told y'all. You remember I used to always tell you about a guy named Evan and Dean that found Eminem. Evan and Dean. And they were like Jimmy's assistants at Interscope. They were like his right hand. Dean eventually was like, when Clyde Davis had J Records, he was Clyde's right hand. And I just found this and heard this. I knew of this because I always told y'all how I had turned over all of that music to Interscope. And when John played the story, y'all gonna hear how the music was all turned over from myself and Edie to Interscope, and then what Interscope did, and who made those dats. Y'all gonna hear Evan speak on all of that. So y'all listen to this, and then y'all take where y'all want. But this is the truth of how the music was turned over to them, and how I feel now that the dats were made, and that the Makaveli stuff got leaked in this transfer.
Which always stuck with me, which is like, we're also going to, he said, we're going to teach you how to make an album. I'm going to teach you how to finish an album, which is the hardest thing to do. People don't know how to finish albums. I thought it was interesting because people really don't sometimes, they just keep going on and on and on. It's like, how do you know when an album is done kind of thing, which I thought was an interesting lesson. But it set me off in this like 6-month journey of like going in the studio. They had this vault with like every unreleased Tupac song in 2-inch reels with Jimmy, Interscope's head engineer, this guy Chuck Reed, and we pulled up every Tupac song that had ever been recorded. They had all of them, and we did like board mixes on all of them, analog days, and we'd mix them down and put them on DATs, and then we'd separate them into like A, B, or C songs based on what we thought they were, A quality, B quality, or C quality, and I'd have to transcribe lyrics for all the songs, like 160 songs. And they were like crazy, like doodles on like the track sheet. I should have taken them. I was too honest. But like Tupac's drawing on there. He had like one where there's like a gravestone that said R.I.P. B.I.G. on it. Like crazy shit. Wow. Like it's so nuts. Anyway, so I'm working on this project, and I get and we go to the studio to start working on it. A studio called Sound Castle, which is now Pulse Studios. Wow. So before it was Pulse, it was a studio you could rent called Sound Castle, like a record plant or one of those, one of those kind of things. So it was Sound Castle. Sound Castle was locked out for this Tupac project, and they had like armed guards there, and there was like rumors of like Death Row is going to try to steal the reels, and like, so every day I would go there. I'm like this 18-year-old kid working on a Tupac album with like his mom and like the Outlaws, like Edie and those guys, and like Mo Preem, his brother, and like all this whole crew of people at Sound Castle, and everybody's like smoking weed and telling stories, and like you have these like legendary producers like Tony D and Easy Mo B and Soul Shock and Carlin, and all these people coming in and working on all these songs. And they had a couple hit songs on that album, which was "Do for Love," which was a big hit, and I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto, which was also a single on that album. And the album went like 3 times it was a big record. It was his first posthumous Tupac album. But
okay.
All right, so y'all go check out that interview and listen to that interview. And it tells you more. It was a little more, but we didn't want to go too deep into it. That's the first time. And people used to always tell me that's made and all of that. And even John, you say, I heard that's, and I heard a story of that's getting left in a car and this and that. I'm like, we ain't never had no DATs. We had 2-inch wheels. And that's the first time I heard of some DATs getting made. And so, I don't know. This is how I think the Tupac stuff got leaked. As y'all see, they admitted, like I've always said, we turned them over to Interscope. We never knew that, I never knew about this. And as they say, they were on high alert, thinking Death Row people was gonna go coming up there tripping and all of that. So y'all know we wasn't involved in it, but this is the first I ever heard of DATs getting made and them transferring the reels to DATs. And so I don't know. That's one theory. That's something that I just found out. Well, just scrolling on the internet when I saw that interview. But I know that dude Dean, and I know Evan. They were both Jimmy's assistants, and they were the ones that actually credited. Yeah, listen to that interview if y'all really want to know how Eminem was discovered. I kind of told y'all my story about Eminem and how the guy Dean always get credit for it, but Evan is really the one that went to the sound, what they used to call those when artists perform, what they call them,
Like rap
the
battles.
showcase. He's the one that went to the showcase that found him